Okay, so when the installation is finished, you should see this little bit at the end. It says to activate this environment, use source activate Python 3, and then to deactivate an active environment, you type source deactivate. So we want to do that. We don't want to proceed like installing other packages before we activate the environment, because otherwise they'll get installed for all environments, and that's not what we want. So we want to do source activate Python 3, hit enter, and you're going to see this little thing next to your prompt that says Python 3. So this tells you the name of the environment that you're currently in. So that's super useful to remind you what environment you're working. So now we can go ahead and install more things. So if we wanted to deactivate, we would type source deactivate. If we wanted to delete the environment, we could type this, but we don't want to. What we do want to do is install a couple more packages. So you can list, when we type this command Jupyter, when we install Jupyter, you could type space and then pandas, space matplotlib, blah blah blah. You could type 10 different packages or 20 if you wanted to, but you don't have to install them all right away. You can also just install one or two and then activate the environment and then install more after that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do conda install pandas and hit enter. And it's going to be slow, apparently. Okay, so now we don't have quite as many dependencies. So we have pandas, and then we also have these other things, like NumPy is a big one, and a few other packages that are required. So we're going to type yes or y.
Are we going to use all of these today?
No, no. In fact, I don't even think we'll use. We're not even going to use pandas today. We'll use NumPy. So that's a good one.
I'm kind of running out of space.
Oh, okay. These shouldn't be very large.
Yeah, it says 200 megabytes at 800.
Okay. Yeah.
Free something up after this.
Yeah. That's yeah. But yeah, you don't have to install. NumPy would be a good one. You could do, if you didn't want to install all this, you could just type conda install NumPy. And then the nice thing is that it knows like which packages you already have and which ones you don't, and it manages all that for you. And if a version that you're installing needs a package that you already have, but it needs a newer version, it will ask you if you want to upgrade. And in fact, if it needs a older version, it will ask you if you want to downgrade. So it's really smart about handling all that, which is convenient. There's other packages that might not be conda installable, so that's dependent on the developer to make that available. So if they're not, they might be installable with pip. So one of these is called tabview. So if I had typed, you don't have to do this, but I've typed conda install tabview, it should give me an error, but maybe they've updated it. We'll see. Okay. So yeah, that's what I was wondering. So it looks like they've added this. I'm going to type n for right now, because typically I would do pip install. Yeah, which already works. So and you can see this. So you can do pip install is good. you can see it installed tab view 1.4.3, and the version available from Conda was 1.4.2. Probably there's like very little difference between those two, but the Conda version hasn't been updated yet. As of last year, it wasn't even available through Conda, so the developer has apparently realized that people like Conda, so they're making it available through that. But pip is another Python package manager that works with Conda. So if we then type conda list, it's going to list all the packages that we have installed in this environment. And you can see that a lot of these are specifically noted as Python 3.6. This one here, tab view, it notes that that was a pip installed package, not a conda installed package. So we can always check what packages we have available in our environment. And here we have a lot. We can also type conda env list, and this will list all of the environments. Now you probably only have one if you just installed it for the first time. Would be this one here, Python 3. And the one that's active has a star next to it. I have a bunch of other environments from days past, but that gives you an idea of which environments you have. Okay, is everybody up to this point? So we have at our disposal now a few different tools. So first thing we're going to look at is Python. So we're going to type Python and hit enter, and this is going to give us some information about the version that we're running. So it's Python 3.6.4, Miniconda or Anaconda, and we can access, help. We can type help, and it will give us an interactive help environment where we can search various commands. I'm going to type exit. How do I get out of this? Okay, yeah, you just hit enter. Now we have our prompt back. So when you see these three arrow symbols, these three greater than symbols, that's the Python prompt. So this is a place where you can do Python. So we can do anything you can do in Python, you can do here. So you can do math, so 2 plus 2. You can do variable assignment, so we can store values to variables and then do some math. Yeah.
Really quick, you got the 3 signs just by typing help? That didn't take me.
Oh, I was just demonstrating that. So
Oh, you typed in Python.
Yeah. So the very first thing is Python. So if you just type Python by itself,
Gotcha.
it will open up this interactive prompt. Yeah.
I thought you said you were typing.
So anyway, so there's a lot we can do with this, and I'm just going to exit out now because I want to show you a bunch of other stuff. So we can exit out. Now there's another program that's similar but has some other features called IPython, and so we can just type IPython, and again we're going to get this sort of basic information. But IPython has a lot of features that the regular Python interactive prompt doesn't give us. So you'll notice that the prompt is different. Instead of these three greater than symbols, it's giving us it says in or input 1, and so we can still do basic math, but we have the option to do something like this, where we can type out 1 times 2, and so this is taking the output of output 1, which was 4, and then we're multiplying it by 2, and so that gives us 8. There's all kinds of other things we can do with the IPython interpreter, and you'll see that we'll discover a lot of these using the IPython notebook or the Jupyter notebook, and all of the things, or most of the things that we're able to do with the notebook, we can do with the regular interpreter. We won't use it much in this class, but it's available to you. There's a lot of powerful features that we'll come across, and from time to time we will maybe go back to the IPython interpreter here and see what it can do. So that's just a brief demonstration of using the Python and IPython command line interpreter, but we haven't really covered much of the language yet, so there's not much we can do yet. So we can exit out of this. We're going to type, you can just type exit without the parentheses, but the proper Python syntax is any kind of function or command has parentheses after it. So we're going to exit out of that. And now we're finally ready to use the file that we downloaded. So let's go back to this other window. So we're now, or you can open up a new window, it doesn't matter, but what I want is you to get to your lessons folder. So this is your home/SIO209/lessons. And we're going to type, yep. Good question. So that's the next thing I want you to do is, so if you're in a different terminal session, each session will have its own environment or no environment. So this session is in the Python 3 environment, but if we go back to this other window, you'll notice that it's not in that environment. So what we have to do is activate the environment in this window. So we type source activate Python 3. And now we're good to go. And then just type ls one more time. Make sure we have lesson4.ipynb. And we're going to type Jupyter Notebook. So this is a command that we have because we installed Jupyter in this environment. So when we type that, it's going to open up your web browser, whichever one is you're using by default, and it's going to show you the contents of that directory where you issued the command. So this is the lessons folder. So you're going to see the notebook, which is going to be at the top, because the main purpose of this is to execute notebooks. But you're going to see all the other files in there just listed as well, and you can view those if you want. But we're going to open this notebook, so we're going to click on this. And a bunch of stuff is going to happen. So I saved this notebook as a Python 3 notebook, so it's going to open it using the Python 3 kernel. That should be the only kernel available at this point. And you can see on the right here, you have this Python logo, and you have Python 3. And on the terminal, you're going to see all this sort of running update of the things that it's doing. You don't need to worry too much about what all this says, but it's keeping track of what's happening. So we now have this notebook open. This is the same notebook that was on GitHub, but now it's running on your computer. This is a live notebook that can execute code. Is everybody able to get to this point? Do you have any questions?
Why does my right here for the lines the raw version doesn't open up as the kind of marked down version you have? You know why? Because we all installed the raw one.
You're only seeing the text, or?